How are you, folks? Enzo DiCostanzo podcast, episode number 10 for Time Value of Money. Okay, so oh, by the way, just to keep repeating this, you should be reading chapter 5 in this textbook. Okay, so the textbook is posted online. Princeton uses this textbook. Okay, so this is maybe a version. There's about 3 different versions of it. They use this one with the Brealey Myers, Marcus. Again, Marcus is Boston College, which is also Jesuit. So we get into the brief. Sorry for all the clicking. Again, looking at the we've discussed the content previously. Here's the brief content. I've taught this in the past, but we're kind of in here right now. So this chapter, it's a 50 page, but this takes a long time to go through this. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Okay, but you should be reading this as we go along here. Okay, so there it is, Time Value of Money, and some of these other ones. Okay, this is a little more the portfolio managers care about these 3, the weighted average, and this is you're playing all sorts of games with the percentages, but at the end of the day, it's what really happens, right? The best model is the from the empirical, people are going to practically do. That's where you really should start. But we've discussed this, I think, in some of the other videos. But like I said, you should be reading this chapter as we go along. Okay. All right, we stopped here yesterday. Okay, so this is the self-test. So we're here with this. What are we doing here? This is 5.8. It says level stream of cash flows. 100,000, 1%. Let's see. Yeah. So yeah, this is another mortgage problem. Okay. And again, folks, just the practice of always sort of reworking on these, that we're putting the interest payment and how much is the amortization. We sort of try to put these together as best we can here. So all right, this can go. I can jam it at the bottom here, something like that. That'll work. Yeah, that should be on top, but that's fine. For now, we could just leave it there. We can fix it later or something. So what are we being asked here? It says, what are the payments? How much is the first payment and interest? How much is amortized? So yeah, obviously, and like I said, 150 lines is not unreasonable. Okay, 150 lines is not unreasonable. But for whatever reason, I didn't do the whole big table here, but you certainly can if you want to. The monthly percentage month, which is a lot. Okay, that's 12% for the year. So I'd avoid, I'd avoid those terrible amounts, right? 15 times 12 months. This is 180 periods. The value today, 100,000, which is not that big of a loan to take. There's people who certainly do take out those amounts of debt. Okay, and it says, So here we're gonna compute this. Yeah, so we're trying to compute what that is. Okay, and so there's it's not an annuity due or anything. So this is something where, again, I'm not a big proponent of running into the middle of some of these problems like this. I'm a guy that says let's make the 180 lines, and now again I got jammed up with space a little bit here, but that's how I would approach it. I'd always approach it where we're making the whole model, but we didn't do that this time through. So let's 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 first worry about computing the factor here, and again it's the same math, so it's 1% for a 180-month period. So it's equal parenthesis 1 divided by 1%. And work in steps. Okay, so 1 divided by 1%. That's it. Get that answer. Minus parenthesis 1 divided by 1% again. Multiplied by 1 divided by 1 plus 1% to the exponent 180. Okay. So over 180 periods, let's get the interpretation on this. Yeah. So you're borrowing $83 today, and you'll pay back $1 180 times. That's what this. That's because 1% is 1% per period. So every month you'll pay out $1, but you'll have $83 today. That's how you interpret that annuity factor. Okay. So for the cash flow, it's going to be equal to the value today divided by 83. So what does that mean? That means you need to pay. So you borrow 100,000. So your payments are about 12, which is a lot. That's a lot. That's 1,200 every month. And 15 years isn't that long. Usually the mortgages are 30. You hear the benchmark, what is about 30 years in the media. Okay. So you have all that. 100,000. And what are we checking here? We're checking, yeah. And this, we're just going to recheck the present value, rate, period, payments, 0. Okay, so 100,000 came in, and you're paying out 1,200 a month over, 180 months is what you're doing. Okay, so that was just the computation. Now, the question is, how much is the first payment in interest? How much is amortized? So you're really looking at that first that first table here. So yeah, the first interest payment is simply the rate times that principal, because that's what you're starting with. That's 1,000. Okay. And then the amortization. So if you're paying off that much in interest and you're paying 1,200, obviously you're just going to subtract these two. All right. That's a way to look at it. Right. That's a. Did I do that here? Yeah. That's how I did it here. And then I think they asked about the percentages or somewhere. So obviously equals 1,000 divided by what your payment is, and you want to totally lock that in. And then right there. So this is 16% of 1,200. This is 83% of 1,200. And then you sum these two. All right. That's, yeah, like I said, I don't like this. This could be like a CFA question or something like that. Might be, you might find this on sort of a standard, instead of obviously making 180 entry table. You couldn't really do that on a sit down exam like that. Okay. So that's that particular. So so the nuance here is you took these percentages. That's sort of the nuance with all this. Again, and the base gets out of the 1,200, which is what your monthly payment is. Again, interpreting the factor. What does that annuity factor mean? That annuity factor means you get $83 today. You pay out $1 180 times. That's what that means. Okay, so you should understand that. Now, the next topic, which we already went over in terms of the next topic that we already went over in terms of the PowerPoints, we're looking at the future value of an annuity. Okay, so this is got to be after this in the textbook. Yeah, so this is going to be what? So your savings mode again, fine. And we have the graphic again. And yeah, this was a bunch of payments, 4 years worth, 8% interest. That's what it looks like, this kind of a problem. So this is amortizing loan. You borrow 1,000 at 10%. You want to make annual payments. Okay, that's future value. I don't know. This is so. Yeah, this is. Yeah, this is the. Did we work this? I think we worked this thing out already. Yeah, these are different. These are different. Yeah, this is this. Yeah, I thought that 315. See, that's just the graphic. This we did this last. This was last video, and we made and we made this. We did this thing, and yeah, this is a 28-year version. Yeah, we did the 4-year version, okay, of this, but we basically the what it looks like is the same. See how this is sort of dissipates, just like this dissipates. Same thing, and you're paying more amortization at the end of it than interest. So that we showed it with that, which is fine. Yeah, so it says you're setting aside 3,000. You can earn 8%. What is this? What is all of this worth in four? So this is not this. Okay, this is not this. Okay. And again, I should have pulled these questions out as we went along. I didn't do that. So whatever that summer, whatever was going on that summer of 20 the summer of 2018, whatever was going on then. I do recall, but that's okay. Yeah. There, copy. And I'm sure at some point it's going to bother me how staggered these all are. So I'm sure I'm going to alter this and stack them better in a better way. But for now, we'll just sort of leave it like that. Okay. It says so what you're looking for is what is it worth at the end of 4 years? So you have what? You have a rate, you're saving at 8%. You're doing this for 4 years, and the flow is 3,000. Yeah, so we have this here. Right? Again, so as I was reading through this, so yeah. And let's do. There's a couple. See, and there's a few things going on with this when you're looking at future value. When you have present value is the formula we've been sort of. That's our workhorse formula. That's the value today, T0. You want to project 4 years out, so you got to multiply by this factor where T is 4 at that same. So it's 1 plus 8% to the fourth power. That's the see it says 4-year annuity factor, and that says future value. So we're going to work out both of them. So we're going to say equal to parenthesis. Remember this. Now, hopefully, you guys working with these formulas, this shouldn't be too big of a deal anymore, right? It's just 1 over R minus 1 over R times 1 over 1 plus this thing to the fourth power to the 8%, right? Okay, that's it. That's your annuity factor. 3.31. So what that means is if you put $1 away, what does that mean? Yeah, that's present value today. So if you put $1 away at 8%, or you intend to do that, you intend to save $1 a year, $1 a year at 8%. Oh wait, no, this is yeah, because no, that would be future. This means you have $3.31 today. You can draw $1 every year for 4 years. That's a way to look at this, right? I'm saying that's going back to what we spoke about previously. But the other way to look at this is we have this intermediate step. We're going to save $1 a year for 4 years. What is that going to be worth at the end of the 4th year? So you're going to take this, multiply by 1 plus 8% to the 4th power, because that's the present value of those 4K. That's it. All right, so it's worth $4.50. Okay, so a buck for 4 years, and it increases by whatever 0.5 is over 4. What is that? That's like 12% or something like that. The total return would be about 12%. That's what that. So again, you want to interpret these, and myself too. You got to stop and think and say, hey, what is this? What is that? All right, because these are all real mental puzzles, and they're meant to be that. So like I said, so we've expanded our math here. So instead of just 1 over r minus 1 over r times 1 plus r to the t, and for the cash flows, and now you're looking at the future. So you're looking at the end of t equals 4 as opposed to t equals 0. This is at t equals 0, right? And here, let's do this. This is and this is at t equals 4. Okay, that's what that stuff means. So now once you have the factor, all right, you can say equals, you're making your payments times the 4-year annuity factor. Okay, so all of you make $3,000 payments, but today that's worth $9,930. Even though you're anticipating doing it T2, T3, T4, T1, today that's what that's worth. So so theoretically, to do all of that, you should have 3,000 today. The money grows, kind of a thing. Because if you just nominally look at it, 3,000 times 4 is 12,000. You're saying, hey, well, how do I do that with 9,000? Well, when the way you do that with 9,000 is that first 3,000 grew for a year, then it grew for another year. The second 3,000 grew for a year or two. The third 3,000 grew for a year. So as those grow, you pull out, it produces capital that gets reinvested at the 8%. Is really what that is. Okay, and this is Z2. Yeah, this is simply a check. Yeah, this is just a check on what we just did. Okay, we use the Excel formula for that. Again, I'm not a big fan of the Excel formulas, but okay. And now from here, you're going to take this, multiply by 1 plus that 8% to the 4th power. So in other words, 3,000 invested 4 times over 4 years at the end of 4 years grows to 13,518 at the end of the 4th year. And the future of this would be equals future rate years payments. And do I need present value? Do I need that? And no, I don't need the present value, because that's another payment. That's considered another payment up front. Yeah, it's just those. There's your 13,518. So you don't. So yeah, and again, to stop and think, this is rate periods, payments. All right, and these are all cash flows. Okay, so that's what you're doing with this. You have 4 cash flows that are going to be working here. All right, you have those 4 cash flows that are going to be working. Again, you can back out. That's alternative. Yeah, and this is just here. Right, like that. We don't want to get these confused with this, but this is something else here, whatever it is. Say, so this is going to be equal to this 3,000 divided by parenthesis 1 plus 8%. The first power. So now before you copy and paste, you got to go back through this. You want to lock the row, you want to lock the column, and you want to lock this column. Then you can say copy Alt H V formula. Oops. Alt H V formula. There we go. Clear out the fill. And there you go. So 3,000 4 years out is 2,200, 23, 25, all that. Right there. That's how we got the 9,936. The present value of those 3,000. Again, you see with the table how it's clearer when you have the table. So this is just the present value every time. That's all that is. All right, it's 4 years out, 3 years out, 2 years out, 1 year out. Okay. And then what you do, the future value part of this, yeah, we'd work that out somewhere. I know we worked that out somewhere. This we don't need. This is probably better worked out like this. So this is the end of the first year. So this can work for 3 years. All right, this can work for 3 years. This can work for 2 years. This can work for a year. And this is just so we're projecting these. So this is the end of the first year. So if our reference is at the end of T4, it can work for 3 periods, right? The second, the third, and the fourth period. And the same for all of them. And these, you just add them up. Oops, and this is this, pardon me. These are these. What am I doing here? This is this. Yeah, it's those are the 3,000s. What am I took the present values. Whoops. There. Okay. Yeah, there's your 13,518, and there's 13,518 up there, which is what the answer is. So I'm just showing you different ways of circling back to it, sort of how that all happens. This is another sort of version of this at this spot here. This is equal to this thing 1 plus 8%. 4 years out. Yeah, there's another way to get it. You just take the present value and project it 4 years into the future at 8%. That's another way to do it. So you got that another way. And then this way, I don't know what I was thinking, but here, this one, this is the NJT version. Equals parenthesis, or what are we doing here? Equals this cash flow times 1 plus that rate to the third power plus this 1 plus L74, and this is to second power plus 3000 plus AL784 to the first power. I did it all, and then plus that last one just in and of itself. Oops, this one. And you could do this 1 plus AL784, and the next one is 0. There. That's another way to look at it. There's a couple different ways. This is the crazy NJT guy way to do it. Okay, we're using sort of everything in one. You could do that, but that's a way to do it, right? You just do it all in one line. I think like this, but I've come to teach in these other ways to make it a little more palatable. Okay, but I think of it that way. But that's the future value of an. So it's not the value today. It's so if you make 4 $3,000 investments, what do you end up with at the end of the 4th year? That's what that means. We have a table we're going to work on here, and where's this table in the book? So this we worked on this thing already, which is fine. Yeah, this thing. This was future values in these tables. Remember this table? We worked on a couple of these tables in some of the other lectures. We're going to do that again here. So this is going to be 5%. This thing plus 1%. Right. And we'll clear this all out, Alt-HN. All right, so this is just a dollar investment. So this is just equal to 1 plus the rate, and it's got a year. Remember this? And we didn't anchor anything. See, it came all crazy. We didn't do the whole thing, but right, because we didn't anchor anything. So what we need to do is you want to anchor the column here, and here you want to anchor. What do you want to anchor here? Oh no, wait. This you want to anchor the row, and this is the column, right? All you want to do is go 5, 6, 7, 8 up to 11, and that's 1, 2 up to 30 years, and you'll see. See, much better. So what that means is a dollar invested for 20 years at 6% will grow to $3.20. A dollar invested for 30 years at 8% will grow to $10.06. And see how quickly you can do this. And again, it's your, and I think I've said in a couple of videos, and it really bothered me when the student said it. It was a bunch of years ago at Rutgers. It was just at the tail end of my Rutgers work. And one of the students said, "Oh, I work for Bank of America, and we have computers that do it, and we have a textbook or whatever." And I think it's good that you understand how these things get developed. And the guys who wrote the book think the same way. And this is okay. This is $1 a year. I just did $1 invested. See, not a mistake, but this was $1 invested once, and that's it. Okay, but this is cash. So look at the differences in the answers here. This is 164, and this is 22. So we're way off on something. So what we need to do with this is we'll do present value equal parenthesis 1 divided by the rate minus 1 divided by the rate. And this is whatever it is, AJ 834. And then you want the future value, 1 plus that rate to AJ 834. All right, so what happened here? There we go. That's it, like that. Watch, manage your parentheses. You got to have the whole thing, this whole present value, and then you project it forward. Now, again, if we don't anchor, we're going to get these crazy answers here. So what you have to do is you have to anchor. So for the percentages, you want to lock in 832 every time you see it. Not the AK, but 832 every time you see it. There we go. See? Much different and much better. See, 113 for 8 years or for 8%. This is 66. See how we did it? So see, you got the I folks, I know this is, I know this is a lot. But it's 1 over 5% minus 1 over 5% times 1 over 1 plus 5% to the number of years, and then times 1 plus 5% to however many years you're talking about, to whatever that exponent is. But again, are you going to be tested on this? No. But, is it, in terms of the worth of the course for you, it's worth it that you understand how to do all this. Okay, it's worth it to be good at stuff. Believe me, trust me when I say that, it's very worth it, and it's worth it to get along with people too, and not fight with not fight with everybody over everything, and that's all worth it also. So, keep that stuff in mind. So here, what does this mean? Okay, we only went to 10% here. I did 11. It didn't ask for this, but I did anyway. The book stopped there. The book stopped at 164. But so you got a free column. You got a free column of company. And what does this mean? $1 invested, 30 years in a row at 10% turns into $164. So in your mind's eye, $30 a year for $1 a year for 30 years is $30, but it grows to, almost 6 times, 5 times, a little more than 5 times what nominally what that would be worth. Okay, just keep that. It's this formula, and again, they clean it up where they do the they algebraically they multiply through, and some of the stuff cancels, but I like the middle part, how to do that. I like the middle, but like I said, just get used to looking at this. I remember the guy that and it was not a good outcome. The firm that I work for now, but the previous incarnation of it about a decade ago. I remember the guy who was the president, sort of chastising me, saying, "Oh, well, you're telling the assistants to do all the math, and you're crazy, and let's just get QuickBooks or something." Well, I mean, and all of that, none of that thinking ended up in any kind of success whatsoever. None of it did. So, okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 more of these. Wow. All right, let's just keep. I'm saying let's put a fork in this part of it. Let's just sort of keep rolling with this. I know it's this lecture will be a little bit longer, but that's okay. The next example. Yeah, this is the 50-year annuity one. Yeah, it's this one. Again, in 50 years, you'll retire. The retirement age will be around 70. And again, I don't know about you guys, but I'm not doing something. I'm not, nothing. Believe me, the guys who operate heavy machinery and these things, they make a pretty good amount of money um, for just a job. Uh, but I'm not planning on being outside in January operating a backhoe. Yeah, I'm not planning on doing that. So Buffett's in his 90s. Greenspan is still working. Volcker, I think, is still going. So, I anticipate, going way past 72 years old. So, and voluntarily doing it, not because I have to. That's something else that's a blessing. So it says you want to accumulate 500,000 by your retirement date, and the interest rate's 10%, and it says how large of an annuity. So yeah, you want to build up to 5, and then it doesn't. The part two, these retirement problems. The part two to this problem would be, okay, so I'm 25 right now. I want to save up. Yeah, I want $1 million by 65 or 72, and then there's a spending pattern as to how you can spend that. All this problem does, this is only half of that. This problem says, okay, in 50 years, what do you have to save every year to accumulate the 500,000? Kind of, is it 10,000 a year? So I'm saying if you just nominally looked at it, 50 times 10,000, right? I think that, right, isn't that going to be 500,000, something like that? So equals 50 times. Yeah, think. Yeah, that's a way. So okay. So the rough around the edges version is 10,000 a year. Okay, that's one way to look at this. But the version where it incorporates the accumulation, it's much less. Okay, and especially at 10%, you can see it's significantly less than whatever that we said, 10,000 a year or something like that. So what we're saying here is the following. So here, let's clean this up a little bit. But these are good problems. These are good. So what do you have? You have 50 years, and then you have a 10% interest rate, and you want to accumulate what you want to get at T equals 50. And see the blue, the three blue pieces here, those are all your inputs. Right? The blue, so how many years? And again, it's not taken into account. It's not taken into account your spending. You're at 72 or whatever. So whatever. If you work at 25, 50, at 75, you want to accumulate the 500,000 is what this is saying. So, and what you're looking at 50 payments. Oh, here, just yeah, here we did it. Here we did it. It says how much savings each year would be necessary to produce that. This particular, we had the problem, or we typed the problem down at the bottom, which was smart this time through. Okay, so you're trying to get to 50,000 is what you're. So in other words, so you're trying to solve for C is what you're trying to solve for. And also, a way to look at this is, today, if you had 4,000, kind of of 4,259, how would you, if you started with that, obviously the interest that gets kicked off every year gets reinvested, and the idea is that's going to grow to 500,000. I think that's what that says. Yeah, that's another way to look at it. So if you just had a lump sum of 4,259, it would grow to that. It would grow 10 times, but it's 50 years. It's 50 years at 10%. Okay, so that's so here. Let's put that in there. So equals this divided by, so that's not what the problem is asking you. But it's not saying what's the lump sum and just let it sit there. But a lump sum of 4,002 would grow to 500,000 at 10% 50 years. That's one thing. But this is saying invest. You're starting with zero capital. So what could you invest every year? So really what we really care about is this, those 50 cash flows. That's what we really care about. So, okay. Oh, it looks like we had the annuity factor sitting here. All right, we had the 50-year annuity factor, so I apologize for that. So that we had sort of sitting there for us. Yeah, I mean, I took that 500,000 back already. I already did the future value computation. So the annuity would be, what this says is a buck a year for 50 years. Yeah, see, this is the annuity. This is what you would need today. So a dollar a year for 50 years, working at 10%. The value of that is $9.91 today. The value of that is $9.91 today. But what you don't have from that is you don't have the C. Okay, so if you know the value today of this, and the value today is 4,259, you say equals this divided by this factor, you can solve for C, and like we just did. That's how you get the 429. See that? So again, you want some amount of capital to appreciate to 500,000. All right, we're telling you at 10% for 50 years, you need 4,259. That's what 500,000 is today at T0. But if you did it in terms of payments, how would that work? In terms of growing to 500,000. Well, we already determined that the future value of this is 4,259. So you can plug into this formula, 4,259 equals C divided by this annuity factor, which comes out to 429. So every year, instead of, I think, what do we just work out? Or what we say, 10,000 a year or whatever it was, you'll need 429. So you need significantly less. And you're saying, well, professor, those two numbers seem very different. Your nominal computations versus the time value never seem so different. But you're talking about a very long amount of time, and you're talking about a pretty high interest rate. Okay, so the first 10 or 20 payments are going to be working for a very long time. Have 30, your first 10 payments have 40 years to work. That and at a high interest rate. Okay, so that's why these are so different. I just want to sort of account for that. Okay, and here let's make sure of what we're talking about here. So again, if all you do is this much, it seems very abstract, right? But if you start saying, okay, well, here's my 50 payments. Right, my 50 payments are 429.59, right, kind of a thing. So, all right, so I have 50 of those payments, and then what I did, and I just proved it here. I said, okay, let me bring these all back to. This is T1, T2. Let's bring them all back to T0. So, which is right there, and this is going to be this. This will be that, and this. Okay, so yeah. So again, I make of these 50 payments. So today it's worth 355, those are 390. So I can just fill these down to the 50th one. And then what I did, I worked out at the bottom here. I sort of skipped a couple lines here. And I said, okay, equal sum. Let me sum this. 4,259 is that. Okay, so now if you look at this, the present value of all of these cash flows at T0 is 4,259. We want to project these 50 years out, which is 50. Yeah, there's your 500,000. Okay. And that's your answer. Your answer is 429. So and again, I like this better because you can look at it, and we'll also extend all of these. I mean, we could do it in all sorts of ways. Yeah, we could use either one of these because this is all a T0. So all of these could be extended by 50. And actually, I'm going to do that little experiment actually on the side here, just to make sure that we can get that. Here, I'm going to work that out right here. So this is going to be equals all of these times 1 plus 10%, and these are all going to be 50. So this is going to be this column. That'll be that row. And this will be locked. Yeah, that works. See how we did it? We took all the present values and locked them at they all because they're all back to T0. We locked them at 50 years of 50 periods of appreciation. It came out to 500,000. See? We just add those up. So all we did was we took the present value and then, obviously this is T0. This is $3 in 50 years, but we project it for 50 periods and it adds into the 500,000. Or you can take all of these and then and this is going to be based on the year. So this is going to be that column. This will be that row. This will be the column here. So this is going to be oh no, it's not by the one, it's not one. It's 49. Yeah. So this will be 50. We lock that minus 1 like that. Yeah. That all works. There, see? Same column. See what we did though with this time through? We had to do a little bit of inventive algorithm thinking. You had to take your 50 years and then subtract the end because this is the end of the first year, so it has 49 years to work. So you have to subtract 1 or subtract 2. So you lock in the 50 and then keep subtracting all these indices, and it backs out the end number of periods at 49, 48, 47, like that. We see these both worked, right? We just did them differently. All right. This is just we took the cash flows, future value, however many periods it's going to grow. This one we took the present value and just projected it 50 years into the future. But it all comes out to the same. You can see this all comes out the same. Thank God. Okay. That's another way to look at it. Yeah, there's the 50. Okay. Okay, so we work this out a couple different ways. Okay, so the answer is this. Those are all your answers. I didn't highlight them all, but those are your answers. Okay, so again, follow the math, follow what we did here, right? Do some thinking. Okay, so we looked at that one. All right, this is the self test. We did savings for retirement. Yeah, this says 420 somehow. 429, but okay, who knows what happened here? 420. Yeah, there's a typo in there. There's a typo in the book somehow. Yeah, 429. So typo. Anyhow, 50 years with savings all fire. Suppose you made 50 in annual investments, but you made these investments at the beginning of each year at the end. So, okay. So you're going to shift a bit with what you're doing here. Yeah, again, we did it again. So, also I forgot. There's something else we didn't figure out up here. This T thing. So, what was this? This was equal to T. Well, here, let's do this. Product. If you just look at how many times you made those payments, just nominally, you made 21,000 worth of payments that grew to 500,000. And again, you have to explain this to people, right? You guys have to be able to explain this to people. So you always want to keep that in mind. Okay. Now this other version here, this is the annuity version, and yeah, this does the auto thing. Yeah, there's 3 of them after this. But okay. So yeah, let's look at this. It's we're still looking at 50 years. We're still looking at 10%. And now this is an input, right? As according to this is an input now. And so it says stream cash flows for specific years. Yeah. I always start with the present value and then just work my way through it. So the present value of an annuity due, um, it has an extra year to work. So you multiply it by 1 plus R. The future value of an ordinary, take an ordinary annuity times. So you're really just multiplying by 1 plus R is what you're doing. Yeah, the future value, this is the real complicated looking one. You take the present value, multiply by 1 plus R to the T, and then 1 plus R another time. So yeah, and hey, folks, there's algebra. These formulas are what they are. So again, it's you got to start building with just the very basic examples that we did, and just sort of move through it. And like I said, we could even have question and answer lectures where maybe you guys email me a bunch of questions or something, and we can deal with this. Okay, because I know this isn't easy. I know that. So okay. And what is it being asked here? We're being asked future value. So yeah. So this is this. Yeah, and actually, I hope we did it the right way. Yeah, 529. So yeah, little typo from the textbook somehow. See the CPA's book. No, that one had some errors too, but not a lot. Had like heading errors or something. That was probably the book company. But the CPA's, you're not going to see as many sort of mistakes with their books. But the finance guys can be a little, a little more out there with doing different things. Okay. All right, and again, just in our mind's eye, let's wrap our heads around this. We're saying we showed that a stream for 50 years, 10% satisfy the savings goal. Suppose you made these investments initially. So what you're doing is you're doing 50 payments, but at the beginning. So let's see, we counted them. Yeah, we counted these things. So this is the count. Right, that's the count. And so 0 is today equals 1 plus. Oops. Okay, and we're gonna do so. Okay, so 50 of these would really just be up to the 49th one, right? That's 50, right? If you start at 0, that's your one. Okay, so what we'll do is we're gonna say equals cash flow. And we're gonna go to the 49th version or 49th spot. Okay, and here. Oh, yeah, the end of the 49th year or the beginning of the next year, kind of a thing. Right. So this is the end of end of the first year or start of the second year. Right. That's how you, because this is today. Then a year from now is the end of this year. So this is the beginning of the second year. This is the beginning of the first year. Right. You could look at it like that. And here we'll do that. This is beginning of first year. This is beginning of second year or start or end of right. So this is the start of the first year, start of the second year, or end of the first year, right? Like that. So you have some of the. Okay, so you're shifting it up to today. So that this plays the math game with you, is really what this does. And also, we used the count function here, equals count parenthesis. There's 50. We counted it 50 times. Okay. So present value today. Yeah, I mean, now from here out, you want to start doing present values, and we could do some checks here. like I said, I like working in the tables. I really I always like working in the table. So this is, what is this? This is what, or yeah, the factor for the annuity due. This is the factor for annuity due. Equals parenthesis 1 divided by 10% minus parenthesis 50 years. And then multiply 1 plus that extra period. Yeah, there. That's the factor. So that's the value today of a dollar a year for 50 years at 10%. That's the value today of that. Okay. And what was this problem again? This was payments. Yeah, these were payments. What that's worth today is what we're looking at with that. Flow. Clear that out. And present value. Future value. Yeah, I mean, to get just to, and again, this is using annuity due relation. Yeah, so this is going to be the payments times annuity due. Yeah, 4,685. Okay, those are the payments, 4,685. So the cash flow would be this divided by that. We prove that, and then the future value is this times 1 plus that, and then 50 times or 50 periods. Yeah, 550,000. Okay, is all that. And I think what we did here was we looked at we compared how much bigger. I think that was asked. It was requested somewhere in all of this. How many times larger all that is. So this is equal to, equal to this divided by 500,000. Here's your 1.1. And somehow we back this out somehow. Yeah. We said equals this minus 1. We did a little, the investment bankers love times this and times that. We really love that. Okay. This is T plus C. Need that we don't need. Okay. So here, so the factor is you take the present value and then multiply it by 1 plus 10%. Okay, and that gives you the annuity due factor. So today, so all those payments are working one extra period is, so you're not getting one at the end of the 50th year. You're getting one at the beginning of the 50th year, and it's working to the end of the 50th year, or the end of the 49th year, the beginning of the 50th year, that works to the end of the 50th year. That's how you get the 10.91. Here's what that is. Yeah. So that's the value today. So if you put in 9.91, yeah, this is the present value. So if you do a dollar payment all those years, and again, for what it's worth, the value today, but you're just using that as sort of an intermediate step to get to the future value. So you say, okay, well, the value of a dollar for 50 years at 10%, what is that worth today? That's worth $10.91. But you're going to do 50 of those. You're going to want to project. This is the present value. You're going to want the future value of this thing. So this is going to be equal to this times 1 plus 10% to the 50th power. That's why you have that. Okay, those 50 payments will be worth 1,280. Okay, that's really why you have that. Okay, future value. This is present value. Okay. But again, I don't use. I try not to go too bananas. Use too many sort of versions of the factor. Like I said, I really like to go to this, and from here we can just compute. And I've had a lot of success and a lot of comfort over the years. Being fancy with we multiplied it by 1 plus r. I'm not sure how much that's really what that's gonna do for you. Okay, but let's keep rolling with this. So what we'll do is, and again, using the power of a spreadsheet, we're going to say equals this divided by 1 plus 10% to the 0. This one's to the 0. And so this is just simply itself. This is this, and this is, we're going to lock that in there. Yeah, there's 3, whatever it is. So again, so 429 a year from now is 3. So this is today. This is the end of the first year, but this is bringing you back to today's 390. The 429 is 355. So this is the beginning of the second period, or the end of the first period. Let's see. This is today. This is the beginning of the second. Right. This is the beginning of the second. This is the beginning of the third, is what this one would be. And actually, here, I'm just going to do that. This is the end of the second, beginning of the because this is the third payment. Yeah. And then you can just do them all like that up to the let's see, what would this be? This is so this is a T0. Okay, this is the beginning of the second year. This is the beginning of the first year, beginning of the second year, Yeah, these are all the beginnings of the period. So this is the beginning of the 49th period. Yeah, because 50 would be right. So this is the beginning of the 49th or the end of the 48th, if you want to look at it like this. So yeah, it says beginning of the period. So yeah, so we sort of have all that worked out. So you have 50 of these is what you have. Okay, and then what do we do here? Again, we're going to get back this number, right? We're going to get back to 4,685. So we're going to say equal sum 4,685. And then, so what this means is all of these payments, starting with the 50 payments at the beginning of the periods, those are all worth 4,685 at T0. We care what this is worth 50 years out at 10% and then 50 periods. That's 5. I don't know why mine is off a bit. Maybe the version of Excel, but it's off by that $4. We're not going to worry about that right now. So, okay. So this is, in other words, this would be at the end at the end of the 50th period is what that would be, right? Because if you go through these beginning, so this is really the beginning of the 50th is what, because there's 50 periods. See, these are all shifts. See, I still use these. I started with 0 is really what I did. So this would be the end of the 50th period is what that would be worth. Okay. And this other one here, this was the future value. And again, so right. So now we're going to do a future value version at the end of T50. So this equals this cash flow times 1 plus that rate. And then this works for parenthesis 50 minus the 0. Yeah, that'll work for 50 periods. And these are going to be locked there. So the row will be locked and the column will be locked. Five, 472. Okay. So here we're just simply going to sum these. And there's your 550,000. All right, that's the future value of 550 cash flows at the end of the 50th period. Okay, which is really what this is. So yeah, that's the beginning of the first one. This is really the beginning of the second one. Okay, I looking at this, I could have cleaned this up a bit and not use the 0 or whatever, but there's still 50 of them, so good enough. Like I said, you can shift these if you want to start this at 1. You could sort of reimagine it, with that. Okay, like I said, but these I don't work with this. I mean, the annuity I just make the table is really what I do. Okay, so, and these were some checks that we did here. What was this check? This check was the first payment. Yeah, all of this was using Excel functions, this stuff, these checks, and we're going to do those next. This T times C is just what it sounds like. Okay, again, that's nominally what your payments are. 21,000 480, but you can see obviously it grows to much bigger numbers. Again, because it's working for a long time and it's a relatively high interest rate. And some of these checks, this would be over here. This would be that first payment, and then it's the first payment, and then it's the present value of all the other payments of the other 49. Okay, so this is going to be equal to that first payment plus present value. This is rate. There's 49 of these, and this is negative 429. 0. Yeah, there's the 4,685, right? So again, being smart about how you use your Excel formulas. There's only 49 more payments. Okay, so like I said, so this thing, we could have not used this 0 version. We could have just beginning of the first, beginning of the second. I could have worked it like that, because this thing. This could have been 49, and actually, we could do maybe another video. We'll shift these a little bit. Let's let it simmer a bit before we start changing this, changing that. And this thing was the future value of all of these payments, and then multiplied it by 1 plus the rate. So this is equal to FV. Here you had a rate. Here you had payments. Here you had the amount there. 0 times 1 plus, and this is going in. Yeah, there's your 550 using the Excel functions. Okay. So again, so just be creative, and again, keep saving your work as you move along. Okay, but these were long. I mean, and no, we're not lying to you that these were real sort of mind twisting examples here. Like I said, feel free to shift this, start this at 1 kind of a thing. So then you see, the index goes to 40, but you start at 0, so that's why it's 50. That's why I put the count down here, just to have the clarity of that. So it says, how much will the future values be worth? And there's our answer. The answer is 50 or 550,000, and yeah, you can see this very innocent little blurb here. What's the answer in the back? This is 141. The answers are in the back at the end of the chapter somewhere. There, 550. You're 10% higher, right? Here's the answer, which is here. All the answers, the self-test answers are in the back, but 550. Okay. And you can see they throw these around like, very innocently, like, oh, just a few lines. But you can see the thinking behind this. There's heavy duty thinking behind this. This is the K auto problem. So we have this one to do, and one more, 2 more. So yeah, let's get these 3 done, and we'll call it a day on all of this. We initially worked at this K auto problem with the annuity due, or the ordinary annuity, pardon me, the ordinary annuity, which was 3 years at $8,000 a year payments, right? That's how this thing started. Okay, if we remember what we did here. So this would be what? We had 10% rate, we had 3 years, and we had cash flows of 8,000. So the annuity is a level stream that continues for specific years, level stream of annuities that start immediately. And I think we're trying to do the valuation for an annuity due on this one, right? Yeah. So we're redoing this, saying what is the value of those 3 cash flows if we do annuity due. And I think this is just ordinary annuity version. It was 19, and we'll get the other version of this. Okay. So that's next. So these are starting immediately. So the value at T0 is equal to 8,000 plus 8,000 divided by, right, 1 plus 10%. And this is for a year plus 8,000 divided by 1 plus 10%. And this is for 2 years. Okay, so what this means is 8,000 T0 is 8,000 T0. 8,000 at T1 is equal to 7,272, and then 6,611 at T0 from T2. Okay, so looking at these, we're determining these present values here. So that's obviously the answer is that. That's obviously the answer. So 21,000. See, these problems where you just if you're at T0, if that's your reference and you're trying to compute the valuation, you just add that in there without any time value adjustment, and then the other ones get shifted a bit because it's not the end of the second period, it's the end of the first period, or the start of the first period, start of the second period, start of the third period. Really, that's what this is. This is the start of the third period, start of the second period, start of the first period. That's really, which is T0s. These are all shifted a bit. Okay, so this version of it is going to be equals 8,000. And I'm just going through all the, everything here. 0, 8,000 divided by 1 plus. This is a year out. And this is 2 years out. Get them up. And there you go. It's another 21,884. Okay. Save as you go. All right. So you've converted to the annuity due version of this, and you could use some of this other stuff. We went through some of these other things here. What do we do here? This was this we did straight on 8,000 times parenthesis 1 divided by 10% minus 1 divided by 10%. And this is no, this is 3. This is still, for 3 years. And then multiply 1 plus 10. Whatever that was. What happened there? So this was these guys, this thing. Here, there, like that. There it is. There's your 21,884. Okay, so you do the same annuity computation and just shift it, a little more. You do 1 plus, just multiply by 1 plus R is all that is. And this was just simply, this was simply the same thing. This is equal to 8,000 plus present value of rate. Now 2 periods, payments are only 8,000 0. 21,884. Which, so we did it because the 8,000, the first 8,000 is already accommodated for. Okay. So this was just a recomputation of the auto problem. Yeah, 21,884. Now we're gonna do something with the lottery winner one. This is that 310 million version. Yeah, and that's it. We'll be done. So these were just doing a little adjustments on some of these problems. This was the lottery, right? This was 3.2% for the years. And what did we do here? This was, yeah, the 310 million lottery winner. And you have the stream of payments, and you're going to change it to upfront payments is how you're going to change this. So again, you're going to multiply by 1 plus R to get the present value of the annuity due, not the ordinary annuity, the present value of the annuity due. Okay, and the cash flow is the same cash flow, 10 million, 350, 1, 2, 3. Is that. Okay, so what you did with this, um, yeah, and we had a table down here. So again, this problem is, so you're shifting the value today from 10.35 million a year for 30 years, starting a year from now, to 10.35 million starting today, and then 29 more of them is what you're going to do. And again, I kind of did the same thing here. I started with the zero thing, so I kept doing that. So here, so let's work out the math here on this, on what we're talking about here. The factor. Let's factor. Factor is equal parenthesis 1 divided by 3.2 minus parenthesis 1 divided by 3.2 times 1 divided by 1 plus 3.2, 30 years. And then 1 plus, 19.71. Okay, is your factor there. And I think with this 65, yeah. So this was, and looking at this, I'm looking at the math that I did. I redid all the math there, but all you really need to do for this is take product of cash flow and that annuity. There you go. That's all you have to do there. Yeah, that's what I did. Or like I said, you could compute it straight, which is fine. And this was using the Excel. And then, the Excel, we did the same version of this. So you took the upfront payment plus present value, rate 29 payments, negative of that payment, 0. Right? Comes out the same. 204 million present, instead of the 300, whatever it is, 310 million, right? It's worth 204 million. And like I said, the other one is we just did the math again. This is 1 plus that rate. Oops. Years. Okay, same thing. Right, you got the same. Just out a bit. So you can see what we're doing. Okay. All that. And this was equal to this divided by Okay. All right, and the change in the present value was little error there. Sorry about that. Oh, yeah, that's the 197. So was that 203 or so? It's this. So there's the difference. I know this was a lot. I know these weren't easy. I know these weren't easy, but so there. So the change in the present value is actually an increase. All right, this is negative. This is plus 6 million different. It's a little more valuable, this version, right? This little, so the present value of 30 payments 204 is less than 310, and it's 65% of the 310. But also, from your previous you had 197, your previous computation for that. Okay. And then the last thing, we're mercifully coming to the end of this today. So we'll look at the actual model. 10.35, 10.35. Yeah, this what I'm going to show you here. This sort of next version of this, the last thing we're going to be working on today. This is now, and this is the end here, and whatever, the end of our 30th period. We're looking at. This is simply this divided by. So if you just do a present value, just do a table, you'll never go wrong with pretty much anything. Anything that we're looking at here, you'll never go wrong with this. This is this. Formula. Okay, so this is the 10. So a year out, 10.35 is just 10. 2 years out, 10.35 is 9.78. Okay, so you're just going a couple. This is now. So this is the start of the second period, or the end of the first period, is really what that is. And now you just add them up. There's your 204. Same. 204. 204.45. 204.45. Same. And like I said, this one, I think, even though this is the most sort of intellectual muscle, in a sense, that the most computational muscle that you need, but I think it's the clearest, right? Because it shows you the 10.35 today, and that's it. All you do is a present value. Yeah, we're multiplying by 1 plus R. I played all sorts of games up here with you guys with this stuff. Okay, but at the end of the day, that's the answer, and that's good enough. Okay. All right, folks. This is whatever the 10th one or something. So this was long. Right, there was a lot. There was a lot to all this. If you guys just don't mind, let me just go through and clean up all the little barriers that we made here for ourselves to remind us where we stopped and started. That's fine. We'll leave that one. I should get rid of the purple ones. There's this other purple one. Get rid of this. Okay. So next thing is effective interest rates. We'll get to this. Okay. So what's next? Rid of this whole thing. So we have the effective here. That will start next time. We have the CPI, a little bit of the CPI. We'll spend some time with this. I mean, this is all CPI is next, yeah. So yeah, the next one could be just that, and then we'll do inflation. Yeah. So no, I think we have two more of these, and then we can start some of the problems. So okay, good enough. Yeah, we'll start the next video, whatever that one's going to be. So the next video will be 11. So this was 10. Okay, and we'll work on 11 next time. And we have an exciting Saturday ahead of us. Right, the Philadelphia game is tonight. So we'll be we'll be taking a good look at the Philadelphia game tonight. Okay, and we'll be looking at that. All right, folks, it was good working with you today, and we'll see you next time.